going to be making a Slovenian bread, Pokrovska Podjemka. It's a focaccia-like bread. It's very fluffy. So it's going to start off with blooming some yeast, about a tablespoon, some sugar, about a teaspoon, and half a cup of lukewarm water, and let that yeast come to life. Our yeast is nice and lively, so we're going to go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients. We've got here some warm milk with some additional water mixed into it, some flour, and that is it. We're going to go ahead and just start mixing that together here with our dough hook. Our dough is nicely kneaded together. Remove this from the bowl. Yeah, that's a good dough. I'm going to set that aside and let it proof for about 20 minutes. Our dough is nice and risen here after proofing. And I just have it proofing right on the piece of parchment paper on a baking pan. Work it into kind of a flatter shape here. Should be about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch thick all the way around. Now I'm going to use razor blades specifically for dough. I'm going to put some lines across it. This is going to make it pull apart bread. We're going to take an egg, just a little bit of water, and we're going to whip that up. And we're going to take this egg wash that we just whipped together, and we're going to do an egg wash on top. And then we're going to sprinkle this with caraway seeds and some sea salt. And then we're going to pop that in the oven at 425. Check that out.
We are going to be making Idrijski žlikrofi potato-filled pasta. We're going to begin by making the dough, flour, canola oil, and milk. 2 eggs. And that is it for the dough. We're going to mix probably 15-20 minutes. Dough is kneaded, it's not sticky. We're going to let it rest at least an hour so it could kind of chill out for a bit. While the dough for the pasta rests, we'll work on our filling. I have a couple of potatoes here we're going to chop up and cook in salted water. Cook until the potatoes are nice and tender. Next we'll get our onion. I'm gonna fine chop on this. Done. The onions are cooked in bacon fat, so we have nice fat here, and we'll be adding the onions there. We'll cook the onions in the bacon fat until they're translucent, and then we'll add some chives and marjoram to it. We're going to be making a sage butter sauce for the noodles, so I'm also going to cut up a little bit more chives for that. These onions are coming together nicely. They're getting nice and translucent. Potatoes are cooking just a little longer on the onion. Onions are nice and translucent, so I'm going to add some marjoram and chives. Set up like 30 seconds max. I don't want to like completely kill your chives, you know. Take it off the heat and let it rest, and once the potatoes are cooked, we will mix these two together. Our potatoes are nice and cooked, so we're going to rinse them out in cold water to help them cool down faster. So, onion mixture, they're married together now. We'll also taste for salt and pepper and season here. Lovely mash. So we're going to let this completely cool, and then we'll roll it out into hazelnut sized shapes to fill it into the pasta. They cooled the potato filling. I rolled it into little pieces here. Our dough has been resting for over an hour. I'm going to flour a surface and start rolling out the dough. My goal is to get it as thin as possible and as wide and long as this cutting board. I think this is the best I can do. So now, cut the edges. We'll go in about 1 inch and then put the dumplings in. Space them out. And we will do this. And seal in between. And cut. Now that they're cut like this, make sure they're sealed, and their iconic shape comes from this like divot that you do here. And I have like this wing situation. Bringing a pot of water with some salt to cook our pasta noodle situation there. A little bit of salt in the water. I'm going to melt some butter here. We're going to also be making a simple sage butter sauce. A bit of butter. To our butter, we'll add a few sprigs of sage. And it goes. Our water is nice and hot, so we'll drop in our noodles, like 5 minutes to cook. Trying to get some browning in our butter. Also add a bit of chives. Add a little bit of the pasta water. These guys out, they're cooked. Add it here. You want to season with salt and pepper. Drop the next batch in. I think those are ready. Just kind of continue doing this
until they're all done like that. That looks pretty good. Them noodies. Nice and buttery and sagey and potato-y, noodly.
So we'll start our Jota, our sauerkraut and bean soup. We have some cranberry beans we've soaked overnight, so I'm going to rinse these and put it in our pot. We'll cover it with some water, add salt and a couple of bay leaves, and we'll let that go 20-30 minutes. Our beans are nice and cooked. I'm going to take them out of their liquid and set it aside. That's all of our beans. We'll let it cool over there while we work on our other ingredients. Dump out the water. Chopping up some bacon. Put the bacon on the stove to start cooking. And while that cooks, we need onions chopped and garlic minced. Going to add potatoes. Also preparing some stock, some chicken stock to put in. Time to transition to the stove.
Bacon on the stove action.
Okay, look at all the baconiness. We're gonna add our onions now. And our garlic, and we'll saute until translucent. Onions are nice and translucent, so we're going to add about a tablespoon of flour here. Put that in. Time to add our stock. We'll add our potatoes, our beans back. Add a couple more bay leaves. Our sauerkraut will go in next. The rest of our stock. And once this comes to a boil, we'll cut the heat down to low and cook it for about 20 minutes or until the potatoes are cooked. Ooh-wee. Soup situation is done. So we'll add a bit of paprika for color. Mix that in. Taste our salt and pepper just for seasoning and serve with bread. Pretty solid. So we're going to be making chives Potica, adding flour to our mixer. To that we'll add yeast and we'll add olive oil and warm water. And we'll mix that until it is nice and elastic. Dough looks like it's come together pretty nicely. I'm going to let this guy rest for maybe an hour and then we'll roll it out and do some fillings. Beautiful. Our dough has doubled in size, so we're going to roll it out. We have chives, green onions, lightly sauteed, mint, and farmer's cheese going into this mix. So we'll start off with an egg wash and brush your dough. Now we'll evenly spread this out. Some mint, cheese, and of course chives. I'm gonna do a little bit of salt and pepper. Now we roll. And what we're going to do is place it in just a little roll this around it. I'm gonna bring the two ends here and seal them together. And we will set this aside to rise for another hour. And then we'll bake it at 340 for an hour.
Our chive potica comes out of the oven. We'll let that cool down and then we'll take it out of this fun pan. We're gonna make a salad called regatova salata, and it is a dandelion green salad. Gotta have bacon, and we have some potatoes boiling.
And of course, a key part of a dandelion salad is the dandelion. I'm gonna chop them up while everything else cooks.
Looks like our bacon is getting there. Take that out, set that aside, and wait for the other ingredients.
The time has come to assemble. Our potatoes are nice and tender. They're still hot. We're just going to chop them up and lay them on top of the greens. Going to chop up a couple of pieces of bacon. Slice up the eggs. For the dressing, it is apple cider vinegar, this little drizzle, and pumpkin seed oil, but we don't have that, so we're going to try and use this macadamia oil. Salt and pepper, and we mix. Hard-boiled eggs go in. Okay, salad is done. So when we serve the sausages, you could serve it with some sauerkraut, some mustard, a sausage, some cheese, and then we have
A potica.
sausage, potato stuffed pasta, dandelion salad.
Perhaps you put your sausage right into your Jota soup and you serve it with žlikrofi and you know, serve yourself however you enjoy. We're not going to make pregmuska gamanica. We can call it a 7-layer cake. We have some flour here, we have some water here, it's lukewarm going in, put a little salt, the neutral oil, and we'll give this a mix until it's nice and incorporated. This is going to be the dough. We'll just set that aside. The next thing we are going to prepare is our poppy seed filling. For that we need ground poppy seeds. We're going to add some hot milk, some sugar, and some cinnamon. And then we'll just stir that to combine. Next we're going to make our apple walnut filling, and this one's going to be sugar. I'm going to grate some apple. We have some ground walnuts here that'll go in, a little bit more cinnamon, and simply mix that together. Our last filling is a boozy raisin cottage cheese. I need some cottage cheese, sour cream or yogurt. We'll add some sugar, an egg. We're going to do half a cup of raisins, which have been soaking in dark rum, and a little bit of vanilla, and we'll just mix that together. We have our walnut thing, we have our cottage cheese thingy, we have our poppy seed thingy. And now the goal is that we get 2 layers of each of these with a layer of dough in between each one. And then we're going to spread a little bit of yogurt or sour cream just on the very top. We're going to start with a baking tray, and we want to spray this one so it doesn't stick. And then we'll scoop a little bit of our dough. Alright, looks like a pretty good layer. We're going to take some of our poppy seed stuff, move that around until you got 1 layer, using about half of it, and drop it where it makes sense. We're going to put a little bit more dough here. Now we're going to put about half of our cottage cheese stuff. Some of this apple walnut. Put a little bit more dough here. A little bit more of the poppy seed stuff. And I'm going to put this cottage cheese layer over the poppy seed layer. A little bit more dough. Put the rest of our walnut apple. Dough to do a top layer with. We got a dough layer on top. A little bit of yogurt to go on top of it. Or sour cream, if you have sour cream. All spread around. I'm going to pop it in the oven at 350 degrees. Alright, it's been an hour that our cake was baking in the oven. We're going to let that cool off and then we'll slice into it and see how delicious it is. I gave it a little dusting, powdered sugar, cut some slices. Oh Yeah, that looks good.